Hi, automotive enthusiasts. Welcome to Cam and Crank, where today we're stepping into the extraordinary world of the 2011 Lexus LFA and the unforgettable V10 symphony that rewrote the rules for Japanese supercars. This isn't just another exotic. It's the story of a company better known for quiet luxury sedans suddenly risking its reputation and resources to craft a machine that could make Ferrari owners stop and listen. Imagine a brand whose identity was built on silence and comfort, now obsessed with the perfect scream at 9,000 RPM. That contradiction is why the LFA still captivates gearheads and collectors more than a decade later. Across the next 25 minutes, we're going to trace the improbable journey of how Toyota's premium marque went from corporate caution to creating a $375,000 carbon fiber masterpiece. We'll peel back the layers of passion, engineering, and culture that shaped every detail. From Yamaha's music division, tuning its exhaust note like an instrument, to the handcrafted carbon tub that required building an in-house loom when outside suppliers failed. This is not a greatest hits list or a sales brochure. It's the human drama behind a car that was almost too perfect to exist, and what its legacy means for performance cars today. We'll begin with the high-stakes decisions and internal battles that nearly killed the project before it even saw daylight. Then ride through the obsessive craftsmanship and sound engineering that made the LFA unlike anything else on the road. And finally, we'll explore how a limited run of 500 cars became a cultural touchstone and investment darling, echoing through every modern Lexus and Toyota performance model. Stay with me, because by the end you'll understand why hearing an LFA at full song isn't just noise. It's a once-in-a-generation moment that still shapes the soul of automotive design. Let's dive into the origin of a legend and the forces that dared to make the impossible real. Micro-story. In the late 1990s, Lexus had conquered the US luxury market with serene, quiet sedans. But insiders whispered about a desire to prove the brand could be more than comfort and reliability. Behind closed doors, engineers sketched a supercar that would challenge Europe's finest. Yet senior executives feared such a gamble could tarnish Lexus's image if it failed. The idea lingered as a secret passion project, quietly nurtured by a few believers until the early 2000s, when Toyota's CEO finally gave a cautious nod. Even then, it was understood. This would be a car that could not merely compete, it had to astonish. Micro-story. The first prototypes were conventional aluminum frames, but when testing showed they lacked the precision and rigidity demanded by a 200-mouth dream, Lexus made a radical decision to develop a carbon fiber monocoque in-house. Outside suppliers failed to meet the quality Lexus demanded, forcing the company to build its own loom. A massive investment that signaled this project was no mere experiment. It was a declaration that engineering perfection mattered more than cost. Context digest. By the mid-2000s, the global supercar scene was dominated by Ferrari's screaming V8s, Lamborghini's flamboyant V12s, and Porsche's clinical precision. Japan's contributions had been iconic yet dated, like the Supra or NSX. Lexus's leap into this arena seemed audacious, almost arrogant, but also electrifying for enthusiasts craving something different. The stakes weren't just sales, it was national pride and corporate identity. Micro-story. One of the most astonishing decisions was to collaborate with Yamaha's music division for the exhaust tuning. Rather than chase raw decibels, they sculpted harmonics that could stir emotion like a concert hall performance. Yamaha's acoustic engineers treated the V10 like an orchestra, crafting a three-stage resonance that changed character as revs climbed. The result was a sound so distinctive that even rival engineers admitted it was magical. Reflection bridge. And yet, a car's soul isn't forged only in sound. It's proven on the road and track. Micro-story. Test drivers described the prototype's rev-happy nature as almost otherworldly. From idle to 9,000 RPM in just 0.6 of a second, faster than many tachometers could keep up. Engineers worried such instant response might intimidate buyers accustomed to Lexus calmness, but they refused to tame it. That sharpness became the LFA's signature, proof that Lexus could build not just a fast car, but a visceral experience. Context digest. Developing the LFA took nearly a decade, during which the economic landscape shifted, fuel prices spiked, and supercar buyers became more demanding. Rivals introduced dual-clutch gearboxes and hybrid tech. Yet Lexus chose a single-clutch automated manual for weight savings and a rawer feel, a controversial move that sparked debate among journalists and enthusiasts alike. Every choice revealed a tension between engineering purity and market expectations. Microstory. As prototypes matured, they were tested everywhere from Nürburgring to the Arizona desert, gathering data and chasing perfection. An infamous incident at Nürburgring claimed the life of chief test driver Hiromu Naruse in 2010, a tragedy that rocked the project team. Rather than derail the program, it hardened their resolve to honor his vision, making sure every LFA delivered the purity Naruse sought. Reflection bridge. That loss underscored the emotional stakes behind what some had dismissed as a corporate vanity project. Context digest. When Lexus finally revealed the production LFA in late 2009 for the 2011 model year, the automotive press was stunned. A $375,000 price tag for a Lexus seemed unthinkable, but those who drove it discovered a car that felt handcrafted, precise, and alive. Limited to just 500 units, it was as much a statement as a product, designed to elevate Lexus's standing among the elite. The waiting list became a badge of honor for collectors who saw the LFA as an instant classic. Microstory. Early reviews marveled at its balance and the clarity of its steering, qualities that reflected the countless hours of testing and refinement. While some criticized the gearbox compared to faster dual-clutch rivals, most agreed the LFA's sound and soul outweighed its specs on paper. Its carbon fiber chassis gave it a sense of lightness and precision that made even mundane drives feel extraordinary. Microstory. At car shows and track days, the LFA's exhaust note became a siren call. Crowds would gather just to hear it start up. Even owners of Ferraris and Lamborghinis would pause to listen, a rare moment when brand rivalries dissolved in shared awe. That unique aura set the stage for the LFA to transcend mere performance metrics. Context digest. The LFA's scarcity and craftsmanship instantly made it collectible, but its purpose went beyond profit. Insiders admitted Lexus lost money on each car, yet they considered it an investment in reputation and technology. Carbon expertise from the LFA would later influence Lexus and Toyota sports cars. From the LC Coupe structure to the GR lineup's tuning philosophy. Microstory. One private owner recalled driving his LFA through a mountain pass and realizing that every input, steering, throttle, brakes, felt telepathic, as if the car anticipated his thoughts. That intimacy with the machine was deliberate, the result of Lexus's obsessive refinement of suspension geometry and weight distribution. Experiences like his spread through enthusiast circles, fueling the LFA's legend. Microstory. As the final LFA rolled off the line in 2012, employees signed the car with quiet pride. They knew they hadn't just built a supercar, they'd rewritten what Lexus could mean to the world. But the story was far from over, because the impact of that V10 symphony would ripple far beyond the production run, influencing designs, ambitions, and the hearts of enthusiasts everywhere. That resonance is where our journey now turns next. Microstory. In the years following the LFA's debut, journalists revisited their initial impressions and discovered the car's magic only deepened with time. Unlike many supercars that feel dated after a few model cycles, the LFA's driving experience remained fresh, its V10 howl unmatched by newer, turbocharged rivals. This rarity of timelessness became part of its allure, making it a benchmark for emotional engineering rather than outright speed. Context digest. Around the same time, the automotive world was shifting rapidly toward downsized engines and turbocharging to meet stricter emissions rules. The LFA stood as a defiant anomaly, a naturally aspirated masterpiece built just before regulations and market forces closed that chapter. In hindsight, it now feels like the last gasp of an era when sound and feel mattered more than numbers on a spec sheet. Microstory. Collectors began hoarding LFAs and auction prices quietly climbed beyond original sticker levels. A handful of pristine examples traded hands for well over $1 million by the late 2010s, sending a clear message. What once seemed overpriced now looked like a bargain. This reversal surprised even skeptics who had mocked Lexus for daring to compete in a rarefied arena. Reflection bridge. The LFA's appreciation wasn't just financial, it was cultural too, reshaping perceptions of Japanese performance heritage. Microstory. Automotive historians began connecting the LFA to a lineage stretching back to the Toyota 2000 GT of the 1960s, another limited-run Japanese exotic that challenged European dominance. Just as the 2000 GT inspired generations, the LFA became a North Star for engineers and dreamers who saw proof that Japanese craftsmanship could stand shoulder to shoulder with Italy's and Germany's finest. This cultural pride resonated beyond enthusiasts, touching casual fans who suddenly saw Lexus in a new light. Context Digest, Inside Lexus and Toyota, lessons from the LFA filtered quietly into other projects. The carbon fiber expertise influenced the LC500 structure, while the insistence on sound quality shaped the GR Yaris and Super tuning. Even engineers on hybrid family cars carried forward a renewed appreciation for emotional connection in mechanical design. The LFA was no one-off trophy, it seeded innovation across an entire corporate family. Microstory. Car meets around the world began featuring LFAs as headline attractions. Even among Pagani Huayras and McLarens, the LFA drew crowds simply to hear its V10 scream. This phenomenon turned the car into a living legend, a rolling concert that united diverse corners of car culture. Its presence reminded everyone that the emotional side of driving couldn't be quantified by performance charts alone. Microstory. Former project members, now veterans across Toyota divisions, spoke candidly about the personal sacrifices behind the LFA, late nights, repeated redesigns, and the heartbreak of Narusa's passing. They credited the project with redefining their own standards for excellence and courage. In their view, the LFA wasn't just a supercar, but a teacher that reshaped the company's DNA. Context Digest. By the mid-2020s, speculation swirled about a potential successor. Spy shots of mysterious prototypes and hints from executives fueled rumors of a new Lexus Halo car, possibly hybrid or fully electric. Enthusiasts debated whether anything could ever replicate the raw, organic experience of that V10. Even if a sequel arrives, most agree it will carry the LFA's spirit as a guiding reference rather than a direct copy. Microstory. At Monterey Car Week, an LFA Nürburgring package was driven slowly onto a concours lawn, and the crowd fell silent before erupting in applause. For a moment, it felt as if time folded and everyone understood they were in the presence of something rare and irreplaceable. That spontaneous reaction demonstrated how the LFA had transcended its brand and era, becoming a cultural artifact of passion-driven engineering. Microstory. The LFA's role in motorsport was small but meaningful. Nürburgring endurance entries helped validate its chassis and durability under extreme pressure. Those campaigns weren't about winning trophies. They were about proving Lexus could endure alongside legendary European teams. In doing so, the LFA earned respect on tracks where credibility is hardest won. Reflection Bridge. With that credibility secured, the LFA's story began influencing how enthusiasts, engineers, and even competitors thought about what makes a supercar truly great. Microstory. Even today, young designers cite the LFA's balance of form and function as inspiration. Its understated lines avoided the flamboyance of rivals yet aged gracefully, a reminder that restraint can be powerful. In a world chasing ever louder visual drama, the LFA's timeless elegance now seems revolutionary. Microstory. As car culture moves toward electrification and autonomy, some fear that the visceral magic embodied by the LFA could fade. But others argue its legacy will push future engineers to seek new ways of creating emotional connection, whether through sound design, driving dynamics, or craftsmanship. In this sense, the LFA's V10 Symphony is less a relic and more a challenge to keep passion alive. Context Digest. The combination of exclusivity, engineering audacity, and emotional impact ensures that the LFA's reputation will only grow with time. Just as the Toyota 2000 GT became more revered decades after its debut, the LFA's influence is likely to deepen as the automotive world evolves. What was once seen as a risky indulgence now stands as a benchmark of ambition and artistry. Microstory, private garages, museum halls, and YouTube highlight reels continue to echo with the LFA's voice. For many enthusiasts, hearing it fire up even once is a bucket list experience. In that sustained reverence, you can hear the subtle but powerful shift the LFA caused. A quiet luxury brand proved it could stir the soul and set the bar for emotional connection, And that revelation still resonates as we look to the future of performance cars. And so, the echoes of that V10 carry us forward, inviting us to explore what kind of legacy it has cemented in the modern automotive landscape. Microstory. As the automotive industry barrels toward electrification, the LFA's absence from modern lineups becomes even more poignant. Its V10 was a swan song for naturally aspirated engines, a soundscape unlikely to be replicated by batteries and motors. This rarity turns every surviving LFA into a guardian of a vanishing sensory experience, prompting enthusiasts to cherish every chance encounter. Context Digest. Market analysts note that LFA values now rival or exceed those of many contemporary Ferraris and Lamborghinis. But beyond numbers, it's the emotional return on investment that matters. Owners often describe their cars as living sculptures, mechanical art pieces that deliver both performance and profound emotional connection. The LFA has matured from a controversial halo car into a cultural artifact that defines what passion in engineering looks like. Microstory. In Tokyo, a small Lexus showroom displays a single white LFA behind glass. Visitors linger, not just to admire its shape, but to absorb its story. This was the car that dared to break Lexus's mold, risking ridicule to achieve greatness. Its presence in that quiet showroom is a silent testament to bold choices and human creativity. Reflection Bridge. The reverence surrounding that display captures how deeply the LFA's spirit has permeated automotive culture worldwide. Microstory. Online communities still share first-hand recordings of the LFA's exhaust as if curating rare symphonies. Even younger fans who have never seen one in person become captivated by its legend. This intergenerational fascination ensures the LFA's story will persist long after internal combustion becomes history. Microstory. Within Toyota's corporate halls, whispers about the LFA inform every conversation about future performance cars. Even engineers developing electric prototypes refer back to lessons learned from the LFA's meticulous weight distribution and emotional tuning. In this way, the car lives on as a benchmark, shaping vehicles that may sound different but strive for the same heart-stirring connection. Context Digest. Museums and concours events treat the LFA as a pivotal cultural artifact, pairing it with icons like the 2000 GT and Supra to tell a broader story about Japan's rise in automotive artistry. Its inclusion among European legends underscores the global respect it commands. The LFA is no longer an outlier, but an equal player in the pantheon of great supercars. Microstory. At a modern track day, an LFA rolls onto the circuit between silent electric hypercars. When its engine fires, the contrast is electric in itself. Spectators lift phones, smiles spread, and the car's howl cuts through the whir of motors. In that moment, everyone is reminded why emotion still matters, even in a future of quiet speed. Microstory. Some industry veterans argue that without the LFA, Lexus might never have earned the credibility to experiment boldly with its styling and performance in later years. They credit the car with emboldening Lexus designers to create bolder grills, sharper handling packages, and sportier models that redefine the brand's image. In their eyes, the LFA's echo didn't just influence technology, it changed corporate culture. Reflection Bridge. That shift in culture demonstrates that a single audacious project can ripple far beyond its immediate impact. Microstory. Even outside car culture, the LFA's story is invoked in discussions about taking creative risks in business. It's cited as an example of how pushing boundaries, even at financial cost, can elevate a brand's perception for decades. The willingness to lose money on each unit but gain immeasurable respect mirrors lessons from other industries where daring decisions pay dividends in reputation. Microstory. Enthusiasts who hear an LFA on a mountain road often describe it as a spiritual experience, a fleeting connection to a vanishing age. For them, the car isn't just a Lexus. It's a reminder that machines can move us in ways beyond function. This emotional power is what ensures the LFA's V10 Symphony will never fade from memory. Context Digest. As we stand on the edge of an electrified future, the LFA occupies a unique place, not as a competitor in today's performance wars, but as a benchmark for how much feeling a machine can convey. It challenges engineers and dreamers to ensure that passion, sound, and soul are not casualties of progress. Its legend endures precisely because it dares future generations to do better. Microstory. In a private collection, an owner starts his LFA before dawn, the garage walls trembling with its wail. He isn't preparing for a race or a crowd. He simply wants to hear that perfect sound once more before the world wakes up. That quiet moment captures why the LFA transcends statistics. It's about connection, memory, and the human desire for beauty in motion. Microstory. In the larger arc of automotive history, the LFA will be remembered not just as Lexus's first supercar, but as one of the last pure expressions of internal combustion artistry. Future enthusiasts will point to it the way we reference masterpieces in art museums, evidence of a time when engineers chased perfection not because they had to, but because they could. Reflection bridge. And in that memory lies the final chord of its symphony, resonating even as the industry turns the page. Microstory. As enthusiasts gather years from now to celebrate milestones in automotive innovation, the LFA will continue to appear, a ghostly note in the background reminding us of the power of sound and passion. Its enduring legacy proves that the pursuit of beauty and emotion in machines is timeless. By honoring the LFA, we honor the spirit of dreaming beyond limits. Thanks for staying with me through this journey into the heart of the Lexus LFA and its unforgettable V10 Symphony. What began as an unlikely experiment inside a conservative luxury brand became a benchmark that reshaped how the world views Japanese engineering. We traced the audacious decisions that birthed it, the obsessive craftsmanship and cultural pride that elevated it, and the lasting echoes that influence every Lexus and Toyota performance car today. Beyond numbers and specifications, the LFA reminded us that machines can stir the soul, that sound and emotion are as vital to driving as speed or power. It showed that daring risks, even costly ones, can define a brand for generations. Today, each of the 500 LFAs is more than a collector's prize. It's a rolling piece of art and a living reminder of a moment when perfection was pursued for its own sake. Whether you're a lifelong Lexus fan or just an admirer of beautiful engineering, the LFA's story invites you to dream bigger, to value the emotional connections that technology can create, and to listen closely for those rare moments when a machine becomes music, so the next time you hear that unmistakable wail on a video, or if you're lucky, on an open road, you'll know you're hearing not just a car but a legend. Thanks for riding with us on Cam and Crank. See you next time, automotive enthusiasts.